Hey everyone, and welcome back to Newegg TV. My name is Paul, and today we'll be taking a first look and giving you a bit of an introduction for the newest video card in NVIDIA's GeForce GTX series. That's the GeForce GTX 760. It's the one located right here. And before I jump into it, I just want to give a bit of context, if you will. When it comes to video cards, if you're watching our channel, if you like to watch tech channels, if you like to follow computers and gaming hardware in particular, well, you'll often hear a lot of talk and a lot of benchmarks and a lot of stuff about the flagship cards in this series. So this, for example, is the GTX 780, which is currently the highest end card in the 700 series, except for the Titan, which is kind of in a class of its own off there by itself. But when it comes to the 760 versus the 780 or even the 770, there's a lot of comparisons. So that's what this video is going to be kind of about. Where the 760 falls in line with the other cards in the GeForce GTX lineup, because it shares a lot of the same DNA. Of course, if you go down to the base level, they're all Kepler-based GPUs from the 600 series on through the 700 series. We're maintaining the same 28 nanometer Kepler architecture. It has been updated, it has been refined somewhat for the 700 series in particular. Apart from that, we are using the GK104 GPU in the 760. That's as opposed to the GK110, which is currently only available in the 780 or the Titan, or you got to go for like a Tesla or a Quadro card if you want to get your hands on a GK110. But also the GK104 actually has a long legacy so far. So we've seen it first in the GeForce GTX 680 right here, which again is sort of maintaining its legacy. It's still in there, it still packs a punch. We're going to be doing a separate benchmarking video on this as well, so if you want to check those out, it's available on our Newegg TV YouTube channel. But apart from that, the GPU, apart from the architecture, what other similarities are there between the 670 and the rest of the cards? Well, let's take a closer look and find out. I have here in front of me the 760, of course. I also have three different cards from the GeForce GTX 600 series. These all happen to be based on GPUs that are going to be replaced by 700 series GPUs. So you won't be seeing these available anymore, or you will be seeing them, but they'll slowly start to fade away. I would say the Asus one I have right here in particular, this one's actually pretty recently came out, and that's still very viable for many ITX builds, but I'm getting too distracted. What I do want to talk about is the 760. So let's start off with a close-up look physically at the card. This is the reference design here from NVIDIA, so you won't necessarily be able to buy this one directly, but you will be able to buy versions of this from NVIDIA's add-in board partners, and a lot of them might look very similar to this if they're going with the reference design. It has a blower-style fan, enclosed shroud cooler. It's going to eject air primarily out the back of your case via the vents on the bracket right there. This is probably a design that you might be familiar with because it is following the same reference design from quite a few cards in the 600 series. It does operate on the PCI Express Gen 3 bus. It is equally backwards compatible with PCI Express Gen 2, so don't worry about upgrading your motherboard necessarily. If you're running, I'd say anything in the last few generations, you should be fine. Also here on the back, you'll notice SLI fingers, so you do maintain two-way, three-way, and four-way SLI support from this graphics card. Of course, right here at the center is going to be the GK104 GPU. Memory is arrayed around that. And then here on the back, you'll notice some familiar video outputs. We have, of course, the two dual-link DVI connectors right there, digital and analog on the bottom, and digital only up on the top. We also have an HDMI 1.4 out as well as DisplayPort out. So that's going to handle all of your video outs. It can, of course, still do 3 displays all at once for gaming. It can also do a 4th companion display that can be used as well, but not for 3D rendering at the same time as the other 3 if you do happen to plug in all 4. And that pretty much rounds it out for the card physically. Now, you might have been wondering why I have these other cards arrayed here in front. I already said these are all going to be replaced over the next few months by the cards in the 700 series. So the GTX 660 will still be available. That one will still be out there. That one will slot in right below the 670. Right here, we have MSI's version of the 660 Ti. Now, this has been a beast of a card. It's been out for some time. This is the one that's going to be replaced by the 760. 670, 760, that's kind of hard to keep track of over time. But the 660 Ti, for example, still use the GK104 GPU. 660 Ti and the 670 actually had 1,344 CUDA cores. The 760 has 1,152, so it is running with one less SMX unit. However, it is a refined version of the GK104 GPU. And it does maintain 96 texture units, 32 RLP units, and I have noticed in my testing that so far the 660 Ti is beaten with a good amount of margin by the 760. Now next up in line is the 670 to 760, and here you're going to see a lot more comparison. Actually, if you do want to check out our benchmarking video, I noticed the 670 and the 760, their names being as similar as they are, really running neck and neck when it comes to performance. Next to that, you have the 680. Again, that's the original OG GK104 GPU. That one has 1,536 CUDA cores, so CUDA cores wise, you will be running with a little less, going with the 760. I need to keep hammering that into my head. But you will notice that the 760 is more geared towards 1080 gaming, so there are 2 GB versions, such as this one here, available. There's also 4 GB versions available. Memory clock stays the same at 6,008 megahertz, and that is the same also with L2 cache. You still get a 256-bit memory interface, so that's another thing that was shared from the 660 Ti and 670, is that wider memory interface that does great for handling stuff like anti-aliasing, TXAA and FXAA. Of course, still technologies available from NVIDIA that are maintained with this graphics card. And one huge difference you will notice from these cards compared to this one is going to be price. Now, we don't typically list price in our overview videos, but I will guarantee you that there will be a link just down below this, so go ahead and click that, head over to the Newegg website. You will see just how reasonably priced NVIDIA has made the 760 right now. It's a real steal. Apart from that, 500 watt power supply recommended. You do maintain the 2 6-pin power connectors right there, so you should be able to handle this video card in most system configurations as an easy upgrade. It's got a 170 watt TDP. And next up, I want to take a closer look at some of the more unique versions of the 760 available from our vendor partners. So time for some looks at some of the specialized versions of the 760 here, but I did want to point out a couple things that I actually forgot. One is I mentioned the sort of slightly less CUDA cores you get with this one versus some of the 660 Ti and 670, for example. However, frequency is bumped up by quite a bit. So for instance, the 660 Ti and the 670 shipped with a base clock of 915 and a boost clock of 980. The 760 is going to ship with a base clock of 980 and a boost clock of 1033. I've been running this through some tests, and I was hitting about 1,136 megahertz using GPU Boost 2.0, which is another feature of the 760 that wasn't available with the 600 series. It automatically overclocks based on a temperature target, and 1136 was what I was running at most of the time for my benchmark tests. So that is kind of the starting off point for this one. Now, first off, let's take a look at this one here. This is a version from Gigabyte. It uses their Wind Force cooler. This one is also factory overclocked from Gigabyte. They've given it a little sidebar there with the Gigabyte logo on it. This one's going to have a base clock of 1085 and a boost clock of 1150, so there's just a quick look. We'll have a separate video available on this one as well if you guys are interested. I also have a couple EVGA cards right here that I just wanted to show you guys real quick for this introduction. This is sort of the standard EVGA version. I believe this one's SuperClocked. They have a custom PCB on the back. They've also made a custom plastic shroud here on the front with the EVGA logo there on the front as well as on the side. SuperClocked version here from EVGA ships with a base clock of 1072 megahertz and a boost clock of 1137. So keep your eyes out for that one. Also, a card that I've literally just barely gotten out of its wrapping is this one here. This is EVGA's ACX version of the GTX 760. That's the Active Cooling Extreme, their custom 2-fan cooling system that they've designed for that. This one is rocking a plastic shroud right here, 2 massive cooling fans, and as far as overclock specs on this one, I'm actually not even that sure because, like I said, I just got it out of the box. It's got to be something, I would say, at least equal to the 1072 megahertz base clock that the standard version ships with over there. But there's a look at a few of the custom versions of the 760 available from NVIDIA's add-in board partners. And that is going to wrap it up for our quick first look at NVIDIA's new GeForce GTX 760. And once again, I encourage you guys to click the link down in the description, check out how much these are selling for, because at least at the time of this video, a very hot price for these video cards. So all of those will be available there. We'll have some add-in board partner cards like the ones you already saw available as well, all over on Newegg.com. Also, while you're down there, go ahead and click the like button if you enjoyed this video or found it useful. And I guess that's going to wrap it up for this one. I'm Paul with Newegg TV. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.